At 12:03 a.m., the main gate of Westbridge Memorial Cemetery was still locked. At 12:07 a.m., motion sensors along the east perimeter activated 3 times. No visitors were scheduled, no maintenance crews were authorized, and according to the official security log, no one entered. Yet over the next 5 hours, the night guard on duty would document a sequence of events that would never appear on the official incident report. This is a reconstruction of that night, based on the guard's handwritten watch log, cross-referenced with the digital timestamps recorded after midnight. The guard's name was Daniel Cade, 37 years old, former municipal security officer, assigned to overnight surveillance at Westbridge Memorial Cemetery, an expansive burial ground bordering the old hospital district. His shift began at exactly 11:58 p.m. According to his opening entry, Daniel described the night as routine. No visitors, no scheduled burials, no weather disturbances, just wind, low fog, and the kind of silence that large cemeteries seem to absorb rather than reflect. He conducted his first patrol along the northern path, an area containing older graves dating back nearly a century. Nothing unusual was noted during that patrol, until he passed Section D, where the graves are arranged in long, uneven rows facing the abandoned hospital complex beyond the tree line. The log entry at 12:42 a.m. is brief but precise. Noticed movement near Section D headstones, possibly animal activity, investigating. Daniel reported hearing what he believed were footsteps, not on gravel but on grass, measured, deliberate, and stopping whenever his own steps stopped. He swept the flashlight across the area. No figure appeared, no animals fled, and no branches moved. Only fog and the static presence of stones that had not shifted in decades. At this point, he concluded the disturbance was environmental, wind interacting with the grass. The patrol continued, but the logbook reveals something notable. From that moment onward, Daniel began recording timestamps with unusual frequency, as though he no longer trusted the quiet. At 1:13 a.m., the east perimeter motion sensor triggered. 3 seconds later, it triggered again, then a third time. No vehicle approached the gate. No pedestrians were visible on the access road. Daniel documented the anomaly and moved toward the perimeter fence line to verify the cause. He expected to find wildlife or loose debris activating the sensors. Instead, he noted something far more ambiguous. The path extended approximately 6 meters, ending abruptly between 2 older graves near Section D. No footprints, no tire marks, only compressed grass that appeared as though something had passed through without touching the soil. Between 1:30 and 2:10 a.m., Daniel conducted a slower patrol, stopping periodically to listen rather than walk. His next log entry reads, "This phrasing is notable, not louder or quieter, but irregular, as though the environment itself was altering the way sound traveled through the space." At 1:58 a.m., he paused near the central mausoleum, and for the first time, he documented hearing what he described as unlocalized footsteps. Not ahead, not behind, but within the same proximity radius, regardless of the direction he turned. Daniel returned briefly to the guard booth to review camera feeds covering Section D and the east perimeter. What he documented next would become the most disputed entry in the entire watch log. He noted intermittent static distortion on camera 3, positioned directly facing the flattened grass path. However, the distortion did not obscure the frame. It only appeared when the camera captured the center of that path. No objects entered the frame. No visible figures appeared, yet the distortion behaved as if reacting to movement that could not be visually confirmed. At 3 a.m., Daniel resumed patrol. His handwriting changes noticeably after this timestamp, letters more compressed, entries shorter, and punctuation inconsistent. The next log reads, "Section D feels occupied, no visual confirmation." This entry marks a shift from observational reporting to subjective perception, a deviation from his earlier procedural tone. He documented that the flattened grass path had extended farther than during his earlier inspection, now reaching the base of a tall, weathered headstone dating back to 1912. No maintenance crews had entered the site, no digging or landscaping had occurred, and no natural cause could explain a linear expansion without disturbance to soil patterns. The guard's notes describe a faint sound resembling distant conversation, not intelligible speech, but rhythmic fluctuations similar to voices carried across large distances. He attempted to triangulate the source by moving in a circular pattern around section D. The sound remained equidistant. He concluded the sound could not originate from outside the cemetery boundary, as nearby roads were empty and the adjacent hospital complex had been abandoned for over a decade. The final detailed entry begins with a single sentence. Daniel approached slowly, maintaining flashlight focus on the position he believed the figure occupied. He documented that the light beam revealed nothing except fog, yet the silhouette perception remained constant within his peripheral vision. When he moved the beam directly onto the position, the sense of presence diminished. When he shifted his gaze slightly away, it returned. This perceptual inconsistency is noted 3 times within the same entry. At 5:01 a.m., Daniel wrote the final line of the log. He locked the gate, closed the logbook, and submitted the report without requesting reassignment. No official incident investigation was opened. The sensor anomalies were attributed to environmental interference, and the watch log was archived without further comment. When reviewed collectively, the entries reveal a progression: initial environmental uncertainty, repeated sensor activations without visible cause, expansion of flattened grass pattern, persistent auditory irregularities, peripheral visual perception of a stationary figure. Each anomaly alone could be explained through natural causes, but the cumulative sequence suggests a pattern that does not conform to a single environmental explanation. No further irregularities were recorded on subsequent nights. Daniel continued working the same shift for another 6 months. His later logs remained procedural, precise, and uneventful. Yet the page documenting the night between 12:03 a.m. and 5:01 a.m. remains distinct, not for what was confirmed, but for what was carefully observed, recorded, and left without conclusion. Because sometimes, the most unsettling entries in a watch log are not the ones that describe clear events, but the ones that describe persistent presence without measurable cause.